Hello, my name's Alan Paul, and this is an unboxing video for our latest game, the Ming Voyages, designed by David Mortimer and Alan Paul and published by Surprise Dare Games in conjunction with Two Tomatoes Games and Frosted Games. The game is available in English, French, Spanish and German. It's also, as you can see from the number 2 here and number 2 on the side of the box, it is the second game in our Pocket Campaigns series, which started with the Cousins War, and this one is called the Ming Voyages, a game of treasure and conquest for 1 or 2 players. Now let's just get on with it and have a look inside the shrink wrapping. Let's see what we've got in the box. Now of course I know what's in the box because I'm the designer and publisher, but let's have a look anyway. This allows us to feast our eyes a bit on Clemence France's gorgeous artwork, very Chinesey. We love that artwork. I'll come back to that in a second. Have a look at the back of the box. Gives you a brief list of the contents, and you can see the bit of the setup here. I'll come back to that. Right, inside. So we have a whole bunch of cards. As it's primarily a card game, you'd expect that. Nice size cards. These are the same size as our Cousins War cards, 105 by 75mm, so they're nice and chunky. And we also have a whole bunch of wooden pieces, and I'll come back to that in a second. And we have some rules and a board. Looking quite. Let's get the board out first, because that might be quite a nice place to start. So the board is folded in half. There we go. That is the full-blown Ming Voyages board. Let's just see if I can focus in a little bit more on that. Yes, it's rather gorgeous. Now, I wish I had a video which would be slightly better at showing this off, but I think you get the general idea here. So you've got areas, borderland areas, which the sides are fighting over. At the top here we've got barbarian homeland areas where the barbarians start, and in here we have, well, China proper, really. And for those of you who might get geographically confused, there is in fact here an indication that which way up do I point this? North is that way. So this is a slightly off-centre in terms of the normal map of China that you might see. And here we have the South China Sea and the various places that the Chinese are trying to reach with their oceanic voyages. So that's the board map we have on the back. Which is a rather nice look at the full picture that Clemence did for the box art. But now we can see it in its full glory here. The lovely little addition of the barbarians in the foreground, threatening the Chinese treasure voyages. Rather gorgeous. So that's the board. Let's put that out of the way. Let's go to the heart of the matter. The heart of the matter, which is these cards. So there is in fact a central little tab for this in the middle. Here we go. We can just take that off. Right, there we go. It allows us to get into the cards relatively easily. There we go. So let's have a look at these. Look at the front one first. There we go. This is the main deck cards. There's in fact in the Ming Voyages there's 2 decks of cards. There's one deck which is the main deck. Let's just go to the back so it's easier to see. There's one deck which is the main deck, and it has this pattern on it, this shiny reddish pattern on it. It's the main deck, and then there's these. The ones with the Mahjong tiles are for the solo variant. So these are difficulty levels: level 1, level 2, and level 3 difficulty type things. And these 3 cards allowing you to specify the detail of the particular difficulty level that you're playing for that particular game. You can actually, you've got a bit of control over the difficulty you want to use in the solo game. We'll come back to that in a second. Let's look at the main deck cards. This is for the 2-player game. So we have got some rather gorgeous cards here. Barbarian cards. Let's zoom in a bit. So these are the barbarian cards. This is a barbarian dagger, indicating that it's the barbarian that gets to use these particular events. It's a betrayal card. We have Maelstrom, similarly a barbarian card. And on the other side here we have these. These are ones which the Ming Emperor will use, and they have got this wonderfully glorious red scroll background on them, and the numbers here refer to the number of voyages you completed. If you completed 1 to 3 voyages, you get the top event. If you completed 4 to 6, then you get the bottom event. Those are those. And then the other main deck cards have got usually like this. They've got a barbarian event or a barbarian action at the top, and a Ming action at the bottom. And they'll always explain how those are used. Each of these cards actually does have, you can see it, a tiny little number. You can't quite see it. Each of them are numbered, so you can easily fish out any particular card and refer to it if you need to. So that's the main deck cards. So they look rather gorgeous. Let's put those to one side. And then the barbarian bot deck, I guess is what we normally call these. This is the solo play, and they're divided into 3 sections. There's the 3 difficulty level, there's the 2 difficulty level, and there's the 1 difficulty level. And each of these has on them an indication of what you will do. As the solo player, you're playing the Emperor. So this indicates what you will do as the non-player barbarian. So in this particular case, and this is the barbarian dagger against Church, the barbarian. In this particular case, take a horde from supply and place it in whichever, the Western Mongols and choose, has the fewest hordes, and if you agrees to tiebreak. So that's explaining exactly what you do when you're acting as the barbarian bot, and that's the level 1 cards. They are quite text rich because in order to make this a really competitive bot, we've had to be very explicit about what you do in each case. These level 2 cards are slightly more dangerous. This one is taking 2 hordes and putting them into place, and then as you'd expect, the level 3 ones take 3 hordes and supply and put them 1 in each barbarian homeland. So things get more difficult as the difficulty level gets higher. Let's get rid of that zoom. There we go. So that's the cards. They look rather good. The thing I like about these cards is that they are really nice and chunky. They will last a long time, and they're very easy to see it's very easy to see what you're doing because they're very nice and large, and I like that. I'm pleased with the way they've come out. So what else we got? Well, we have wooden pieces. We have some dice. The dice are used for the combat system. So the Ming Emperor uses the green dice, the 3 green dice, and the barbarian player uses the white dice. White with green spots, green with white spots, and they look pretty good. I'm happy with those. And then we have, in a Ziploc bag, these are wooden pieces which were improved as a result of the Kickstarter campaign. So let's have a look and see what we've got here. We have the piece de resistance, if you like. We have the junks. These are printed. Let's put a couple here and see if we can zoom in on these. These are the printed junks. Let's move these into the centre of the picture a bit. See if we'll focus in on those. Doesn't really focus in very well, does it? The video quality is not brilliant. but you can see here the printing, it does look really nice. I have to say, I'm very, very pleased with the way that's come out. So you get 7 junks. There we go. And you also have a bunch of these, you have 5 of these barbarian settlements, is what we call them. They're kind of areas that the barbarians can put down into the borderland areas, and they make it easier for the barbarian to win battles. And they're printed on both sides, and you get 5 of those. We also have, there's a red cube which is used for the tie break for the solo game. We have a whole bunch of green cubes which are the Ming Emperor's troops. So there's 12 of those Ming Emperor troops, and similarly we have 12 white cubes which are the hordes, the barbarian hordes. They use those, and then we also have 5 gold cubes, 4, funnily enough, gold, that the Ming Emperor has to use to fund his journeys overseas. So that's those pieces as well. Let's come out again. So we have the rule books. There are in fact in this game 2 rule books. We decided the easiest way to do this was to split the 2 rule books and have pretty much complete rule books, one for 2-player and one for solo play, one for 2 players. And here we've got what you'd expect. There's a whole bunch of explanations set up. There's a big setup picture for how to start the game. This is the solo rulebook, so the solo play setup. Explanation of the difficulty levels, and how to play, how to do the tie breaks, and examples of combat. It's very important to get an idea of this, and a reference for the particular actions that you can take. And there's a quick reference on the back of each rule book, so that rather than having to refer to the whole of the rule book during play once you know the game a bit, you can just stick that in front of you, and that will allow you to refer during play to critical aspects. So that's the rules. We also have included a bunch of Ziploc bags. So the idea here is that you can stick things in very conveniently, so we can put the wooden pieces in one, we can put each deck of cards in another one, and so it's very easy to select whether you want to play 2-player or solitaire when you start. So let's put the board back out again. Here we go. Rules, wooden pieces, and most importantly, cards. And there we have the Ming Voyages. Thanks very much for watching.